you're getting out of one procedure to go into another procedure. Yo. I think we're at a good volume. I want to talk about something that has been happening and very popular recently based on what I've seen on all social medias, which is this concept of the Matrix. Two controversial YouTubers I've seen go about this are Sneako and Andrew Tate, talking about how everyone is bots. We're all bots and we're all living the same agenda. And we need to break out of it and break the simulation and not follow what everyone else is doing. And although I can see, I do understand this is coming from a push for self-improvement, to think for ourselves and fall in love with what we fall in love with, in terms of don't just do something because everyone else is doing it. Do it for you. Do it because of your personal love and attachment. But I do want to give one very, very, very important clarification that I think anyone who's taking this matrix thought and matrix ideology should understand. Because there's one common thing that I feel like this whole world has not understood in terms of, and this could be stretched to political discourse, this could be stretched to all different kinds of things, which is the idea that just because you are not in one box doesn't mean you aren't in another. And this is something that I see happen all the time, this mistake people make, especially with matrix thought. So let's break down what the matrix thought is. Matrix thought basically is everyone's doing a 9-to-5. Everyone is living this certain way, telling you how to live. The media is telling you how to live here and there. And you're just following what everyone else is doing without giving your purpose, your wants, your needs any nuanced thought and attention. And you follow things because you think they're right, but you don't really think for yourself. That's what the matrix, I think, is targeting. You need to escape out of this matrix of just following orders and think for yourself. However, there's a little bit of a problem with the impact of something like this. So it is getting people to be like, okay, so I should think for myself, but now look at how the matrix has been talked about. It's become this very red pill situation where people need to stop doing certain things and start doing certain things. I've seen some things about like know your worth as a man, content related to that, and not listen to the fear mongering of the media. Basically, there's a procedure that people are giving for the matrix. And the matrix goal is to get people out of procedures. So the problem with this, and also, but first of all, there's a procedure difference. So now you're getting out of one procedure to go into another procedure. So you have the illusion that you're free, but you're just following someone's orders on how to be free, but you're still following someone's orders, which is exactly what you're not trying to do, right? And in this, there's even harder situation because the matrix, or getting out of the matrix, has been branded in a very certain way. So you look at Sneako, he's definitely given a lot of red pill right-wing beliefs. You look at Andrew Tate, he has definitely given a lot of red pill right-wing beliefs. And I'm not saying red pill and right-wing are directly linked, but do you see where there's a certain idea, there's a brand, like you value your worth as a man. When you see red pill, when you see breaking the simulation, there's a certain group of people that are very similar that embody that belief, which makes you, I think, follow and be more attached to these people. And this is what it's like, saying like, this is what it's like if you break the matrix. If you break the matrix, you're going to look like this, you're going to talk like this, you're going to follow these orders, you're going to do these things. And I feel like the true thing is what we have as humans, and at least based on my own experience. And again, I'm not here to judge anybody. I don't want to spread judgment. I just want to break down how this stuff happens from my perspective. I feel like we are all humans. We start following a bunch of different things, and then we try to find identity in certain other things, like artists we like, things we like to do. people, brands, we find identity, and we take extreme identity into those things. Extreme identity until we kind of go too far. And then we kind of understand our relationship with that identity. But the more I've lived, the more I've discovered myself, I've realized that I cannot be labeled. If I say I'm a nice person, it's not entirely true, because I'm going to be mean sometimes. If I say I'm a mean person, it's not true, because I'm going to be nice. If I say I'm a good rapper, not true. I'm going to have some misses. Like, there's going to be situations where I'm bad. Like, I can't label myself as a human being because I'm way too complex. And this is where there's a huge disconnect between the brand. Brand is meant to be consistent, and human being. Human beings, truthfully, the more you find yourself, you'll find that you won't agree with, like, you pretty much most likely won't agree with anybody you've seen. Because the combination of, I'm not saying like you'll agree with people on one issue maybe, but I'm just saying you're going to find yourself, and that person is not going to be attached to any boxes. So even being anti the matrix, like you're trying to escape it, right? Being anti the matrix, anti sheep, anti thinking how everyone else thinks is still putting you in a box, because now a box is setting a limit so you don't have to think, right? So let's just say you are in the matrix. You're following these orders, you're following these rules, you're not thinking. So you're in a box, right? But if you're always anti-matrix, that means no matter what, you're against that box. And that is still a box, because you're not thinking. And there's going to be times where you actually agree with the matrix. There's going to be times where you have to do something. There's going to be times where you break those rules as a human being, because the individual combination of opinions that you possess are way too unique to be boxed in to one party, one thing, one idea of thought. So you're going to take what applies and take what doesn't. It's very rare that you're going to exactly agree with everything someone does or something does or something conveys. So the huge problem I see with people who enter this escape the matrix thing is they love the brand, and they have a strong passion to change themselves. They have a strong passion, strong hatred for their past self. They want to change themselves, but by embodying the anti-philosophy of anything, if you embody an anti-philosophy, it is still a box, because no matter what, you're against something. That means you're still putting yourself in a box, because that side that you're against, that side you're anti, will be right eventually. And that's the same with, I think, anything. Will be, like, you can't always say something is wrong, or like create a philosophy where you're anti or against something all the time, because that's still a box. That's just the opposite of what someone else is doing. If you're doing the opposite of what someone else is doing, you're still not thinking for yourself, because it's dependent on the other person. And then that person might actually have a good point. And instead of actually acknowledging or trying to think that point through, you just do the anti of that, because you're so obsessed with the brand of the matrix being bots who conform, and the anti of the matrix being people who don't conform. But you're still, if you always go anti, then you're conforming to this group of people who are trying to tell you don't conform and trying to tell you how to not conform. But the rules are different for everyone, because we're all human beings with nuanced and objective, opinions. And that's a paradox of this video in itself. If I tell you how to act, like I'm not going to be right like all the time for you. I might not be right at all for your journey. So listening to me is still putting yourself in a box. Listening to me completely. Taking what you want from what I say is great, but listening to me or any other content creator, anything completely is putting yourself in a box and not allowing yourself to think. So just because someone says the other thing is bad doesn't mean that they're free from doing it. And that's the biggest thing I want to emphasize, that we need to understand. We're not, our true selves are not going to be able to be labelable, I think, by anything, because we're so, like, the combination will disagree eventually. And instead of trying to take to one action just because it's branded cool, we have to really understand that, yeah, we're discovering ourselves, and we're not going to agree with everyone, but that's just how it is. If you're like, that's just a part of being a human being. That's what makes you unique, I think. And again, the paradox of this is you don't even have to take what I'm saying. You don't even have to agree with this or resonate with it, because I'm just another person giving you, in a way, suggestions or orders. And you can take them, but I'm not going to sit here and say you need this. I just said need, which is something I'm trying to work on, but I'm not going to tell you you need to do this, because your path might be different. You are in control of the advice and the things you need to take. So you can take stuff. I'm going to be right for you, I think, eventually. And I'm going to be wrong for you eventually. And that's just how it goes. Like, listening to one thing completely is not going to push your, I think, individual growth completely.